If our members would please find their seats, our guests find seats in the gallery. Debbie, your mic is, yours on. Your mic is on.
Oh, is my mic on? We ready?
Yep.
So Pledge of Allegiance?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hold down. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the recess meeting of July 19, 2018 of this Will County Board. We'll call this board to order. If everyone would please stand, we have the County Board member Debbie Melatello will lead us in the pledge and then lead us in or introduce our clergy for this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased to introduce Pastor Randy Bland from the Families of Faith Ministry in Channahon, Illinois. Pastor Bland was born in Decatur, Illinois, and received his education from Liberty Bible Institute. Pastor Bland has been a pastor for 29 years and at Families of Faith Ministries since March 2001. He is married, has 5 children, and 6 grandchildren. Good morning.
Amen. Good morning to all of you. It's my pleasure to be here and to intercede on behalf of our board, our citizens of Will County, and the staff here today. Would you join me? God in heaven, I thank you for this privilege. And God, in a time where there is so much distress all around us, I'm reminded of the prophet Jeremiah. In a time where their people were so separated from you and the distress was so high and the uncertainty overwhelmed them, you told your prophet to tell your people that you have a plan to prosper them and not to harm them, a plan to give them hope in a future. And today, God, I pray for this board. I pray that you would give them the wisdom to fulfill that prophecy, that you would give them discernment, that you would bless their lives, bless their families, and bless their careers. I pray for the citizens of Will County, God, that you would overwhelm them with your presence, that there would be a stirring in our hearts to desire you more than anything else. Let your spirit rest upon this place today, I pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor? Brooks? Ogala? Here. Summers? Here. Singer? Moran? Present. Rice? Harris? Here. Trainier? Here. Benefield? Here. Fritz? Present. Gould? Here. Militello? Here. Balich? Here. Vizalone? Here. Winfrey? Here. Parker? Here. Staley Ferry? Dollinger, here. Markham, here. Hart, Tuminello, here. Weigel, here. Ferry, Colitis, and Mustis.
22 present.
22 present. We have a quorum. Entertain a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Markham. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor? Yes. Ogala? Yes. Summers? Moran? Yes. Harris? Yes. Trainier? Yes. Benefield? Yes. Fritz? Yes. Gould? Yes. Militello? Yes. Balich? Yes. Frizzlone? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Parker? Yes. Staley Ferry? Yes. Dollinger? Yes. Markham? Yes. Tuminello? Yes. Weigel? Yes. Ferry? Yes. Colitis? Yes. And Mustis.
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative. Motion has been carried. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Will County regular meeting, June 21. Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. So, Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge our elected officials and the media that's present this morning?
Sure. Auditor Duffy Blackburn, County Clerk Nancy Schultz-Voots, our County Executive Larry Walsh, State's Attorney James Glasgow, and we also have Senator Jennifer Patino-Tarrant from the 49th Legislative District in the audience. Welcome and good morning. And media, we have Farmers Weekly Review Nick Ryer, and from Southtown Susan Lafferty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First on our agenda this morning, we have a proclamation to not recognize Eagle Scout. So if County Board member Mr. Corralitis and John Weglers with your parents come down to the podium and we'll make the presentation.
Thank you all. I know that you have proud parents here and a thankful community for what you've done. So we just want to read this proclamation honoring John Weglers on becoming an Eagle Scout. Whereas John Weglers is a recent graduate of Joliet Catholic Academy and a member of Plainfield Boy Scout Troop 13 Rainbow Council, which meets at the Plainfield Fire Department Administration Center. Whereas John has held many leadership positions within the troop, including scribe, assistant senior patrol leader, and patrol leader. And whereas John is a member of the Order of Arrow, the Scout Honor Society, and has earned 36 merit badges during his scouting. And whereas outside of Scouts, John has been very involved by participating in the Scholastic Bowl, varsity tennis, tech club, and student government at Joliet Catholic Academy, as well as volunteering in the community. And whereas for Eagle Scouts project, John built 12 nesting boxes for the recently designated endangered rusty-patched bumblebee for the Forest Preserve District of Will County. And whereas through much hard work and dedication, John Weglers has soared to the distinction of Eagle Scout. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby congratulate John Weglers on his achievement of Eagle Scout rank. Be it further resolved that the Court of Honor of Eagle Scout, John Weglers, is to be held on August 5th, 2018 at Plainfield Fire Department Administration Center in Plainfield, Illinois. Dated this day, the 19th day of July, 2018, signed by Lawrence Walsh, Will County Executive, and attested by Nancy Schultz-Voots, Will County Clerk. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Corralitis, second by Mr. Mayor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
If you want to thank you or whatever, feel free.
Sure. So, well, I'd like to thank, let's see if this is working. All right. I'd like to thank the Will County Board for this honor. I'd like to thank my parents. They're right next to me. They'd hold it against me if I didn't. I'd like to thank the rest of my family. I'd like to thank my Scoutmaster, Mr. McGee. He helped me along the way when I had to be dragged kicking and screaming. And I'd like to thank Mr. Lorden, who was an assistant scoutmaster who helped me during my project and helped me during the construction. I'd also like to thank the bees for making this all possible. I think they, One thing, I'd also like to thank the Will County Forest Reserve for their project and helping me along with it, giving me the idea and assisting me when needed. I believe that's all.
Good job, Luke. Congrats. I know we want to get a picture or two, so. Do you want to get up here and get a picture over here in front? Okay, come on. Larry, we're going to get a picture if we can. Okay. Go ahead. Congrats, man.
All resolutions approved at the June 21, 2018 County Board meeting had been signed by the county executive. On to new business. First committee, Land Use and Development, Tom Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Morning.
Tom.
First item is open the public hearing for land use cases, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor? Ogala? Summers? Moran? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Gould? Militello? Balich? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Markham? Tumanello? Weigel?
Yes.
Ferry? Coritis? And Mustis. Mr. Mustis?
Mr. Mustis? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Affirmative.
What was that?
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative. We have one case to be heard today, case ZC 18-025. We didn't have no sign-ups? If anyone in the public wishes to discuss this zoning case, anyone want to speak on this zoning case? Anyone want to speak? Mr. Weigel?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Balich. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Mayor? Ogala? Summers? Moran? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Gould? Militello? Balich? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Markham? Tumanello? Weigel?
Yes.
Ferry? Coritis? And Mustis. Thank you.
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative. We're out of public hearing. Mr. Weigel, continue.
Okay, our one case is a zoning map amendment from A2 to A1 in Homer Township. This is to allow him to build an additional building for keeping of animals. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Balich. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
I'll move on to our resolutions. Our first resolution, 18-83, is an appeal of the Planning and Zoning Commission decision of denial of the variances for Tyler Chabet. This is in Beecher. We had seen this a couple months ago, and it was sent back to PZC, and they reaffirmed their denial. So I would make a motion that we affirm the denial of the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mustis.
I just want to get clarification, so
You have to vote no.
would be for denial.
No.
That's, the motion is to
You have to do a
continue
motion to approve
denial.
and then
A yes
say no.
means to
That's the way the
deny.
resolution is written.
Yes, you were
Okay.
right.
If you look at the bottom of the
Okay.
resolution, can you pull it up?
Any questions? Any questions?
Uh,
Previous, what?
We're getting instruction here
See,
that,
The resolution is written that the appeal would be approved, so you have to vote as a no.
okay, so we have to vote no to deny it.
Yeah, that's why I asked. You made the motion one way, Tom, but I think the resolution
Okay.
says something different. I mean, I want to, Mary, can we just make sure we're voting?
What you say, a motion to deny.
So the motion to be made should be that you're voting to approve the appeal, and then if you don't want to approve the appeal, you vote no.
Okay, so that's, you made that motion.
That's what I said.
What are you saying now?
But that's not the way the resolution is written.
Yeah, it's written to approve. It's written to. And you're voting no. Yeah, it's written to override. Overturn the, planning and zoning commission. That's on the resolution.
Well, the zoning commission is still denial. So if you're going to support the zoning, then the motion has to, but can we make motions to deny?
Mary, go over here.
I thought we always had the same.
Or
Mary, could you go to the podium?
Very last line says, now therefore be it resolved by the County Board, Will County, Illinois, that the appeal of the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission administrative decision appeal is hereby approved. So we have to vote
No.
if we want to carry through on our previous decision. Right.
Mary, we're looking for you to give this a definite clarification. Or if we have to amend the resolution, we can.
can you move to the podium, Mary?
Thank you.
I meant to have staff change the resolution, but I forgot to do that.
Okay, so the motion should be to concur with the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So it'd be a yes.
Yes, but the way it's written is it's a motion to concur with the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So then you vote yes.
If you want to deny it.
Okay, amend the resolution.
Okay,
So we're either approving or not approving the resolution. If we approve the resolution, you're saying it is
Will
to
County
deny
of
or to
that
concur with.
appeal of the Will County Planning and Zoning. Oh my goodness, that appeal of the Will. Okay, so, all right, yes. So when you get to the now
Listen to
therefore.
Mary, we've got too many Marys in here.
When, when you get to the now therefore be it resolved, it says the appeal of the appeal is approved. So you would vote no.
Just right, this,
Okay, so I'll make a motion to vote, to approve and request that you people vote no.
Mr.
I understand, that's the
Mr.
one I
Moran?
read, but
Read the paragraph above that, because it's the Land Use and Development Committee reconsidered appeal by a vote of 6-0 on a motion to concur with the decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission, thereby denied the appeal of the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission administrative decision appeal.
And-
So the appeal has already been denied. So if he made now therefore, if he makes a resolution to concur with this resolution, a motion to concur with the
no,
resolution.
that's not what the now therefore be it resolved says. It
It
says.
says, it refers you back to the previous paragraph, which says it was denied.
No, it doesn't. It's saying that the appeal of the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission, so that's the request from the landowner,
Was denied.
is approved, is what it says.
That's not what it says.
Yeah, it does.
Don?
The paragraph
Mr.
above
Gould?
says it was denied.
Why can't we
It says
just
it's agreeing with the
change,
decision.
I would suggest we change, thank you. I would suggest we change that paragraph for greater certainty and say perhaps this. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the County Board of Will County, Illinois, that the decision of the Will County Planning and Zoning Commission administrative decision is hereby approved, or
Is
is
upheld.
hereby concurred with.
Concurred with, yes, I agree. That would be,
That way you clean up the multiple appeals in the language.
Thank you, Don.
How about if we
Go ahead and speak, Mr. Musa.
for right now, go back and look at the resolution. We'll come back to it when you have,
you want something in writing that we can distribute to everyone?
yes,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
Mr. Executive, if that's okay with you, we'll just come back to it.
That's,
Well, there's a,
Let Mary work on the
so
resolution.
somebody needs to make a motion to table it, because you've already had a motion.
moved and tabled. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor? Okay, with Mayor? O'Gala? Summers? Moran? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Gould? Militello? Balich? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Markham? Tumanello? Weigel? Ferry? Coritas? And Mustis. Thank you.
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative, 1883 has been tabled. Mr. Weigel.
Our next item is keeping of bees. There have been some things come up since our committee meeting of requests for changes. I'd like to make a motion to remand this back to the Land Use Committee.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, by second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Next item, 18-93, is amending Section 155-730 and other sections concerning accessory uses. This is something that was left out in our January revision concerning accessory uses of dwelling units. We left out in the industrial district that an owner could have a dwelling unit in there. It was in our previous ordinance. So I'd make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Mayor, second by Ms. Melitello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Next resolution, 18-194, concerning outdoor lighting, is lifting restrictions on residential lighting and agricultural use properties. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Ms. O'Gala. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Our next land use meeting will be August 14th. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Tom. Next up, our Finance Committee, Mr. Frizzalone, Chairman.
Good morning, Will County.
Good morning, Michael.
First up, we have a bunch of reports to put on file. First one is a report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of April 2018 to be $1,745,439. The RTA tax received is $2,057,636.27 for a total of $3,803,075.27. We also have the monthly report dated May 31st from the Will County Treasurer, We have the quarterly report dated 3/1/18 through 5/31/18 from the Will County Treasurer. We have the semi-annual report dated 12/1/18 through 5/31/18 from the Will County Treasurer. And we have the quarterly financial report for the 6 months ending May 31st from the auditor. And we also have the Regional Transportation Authority and Service Board Special Purpose Combining Financial Statements 2017 report. I'd like to make a motion to place all those on file.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Mayor. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
First up, we have 18-195, transferring appropriations in the Community Health Center fiscal year 2018 budget for contractual physicians, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
And we have 18-196, designating People First Bank as a county depository, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, or Frizzalone, second by Mr. Ballich. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Dollinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
So the business we have this month, our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for August 7th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Next up is Public Works and Transportation Committee. Mr. Gould, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Don.
Fellow board members. I would move to place on file public notice of the proposed issuance of a federally enforceable state operating permit for IMTT Illinois LLC in Shanahan, Illinois.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Melitello. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 18-197, confirming an award of contract to H&H Electric Company led on June 20th for a countywide LED module replacement, all county board districts. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Summers, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 18-198, confirming an award of contract to Deconstruction led on June 20th at 80th Avenue from south of 183rd Street to north abutment of I-80 Bridge, County Board District 2. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Ogala. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 18-199, confirming an award of contract to Austin Tyler Construction led on June 20th for Green Garden Road District, Sheer Road over tributary of Prairie Creek, County Board District 2. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Fritz. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 18-200, confirming an award of contract to PT Farrell Construction led on June 20th, Manhattan Road District Overlay, County Board District 2. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Tumanello. Second, previous roll, moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Summers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 18-201, confirming an award of contract to AC Pavement Striping Company led on June 20th, Wesley Road District Seal Coat, County Board District 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Melitello. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Markham and second by Ms. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Our next meeting is August the 7th at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Next up, Judicial Committee. Mr. Benefield, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Darren.
There are no items to be presented to the board this morning from the Judicial Committee. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 7th at 9 a.m. in the County Board meeting room. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Next up, Public Health and Safety Committee, Ms. Ogala, Chairperson.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I just have one item today. I have a report to place on file. It's from our Will County Health Department. It's a 2017 annual report. I'm just going to give a little narrative of it, of what you can find in it before I make a motion to place it on file. So over last year, the Health Department has, through the leadership of our Executive Director, Susan Olenek, they've put together their inaugural strategic plan. It was a 5-year plan. It's complete with core values, value statement, and a vision statement. And then as they move forward through the next 5 years, they'll be going and reporting on how these have come into play. So the mission statement is to prevent disease and promote a healthier environment for all residents, business operators, and visitors. Our agency of professionally trained staff works cohesively to assure public health and safety measures are maintained through services and programs the department provides based on the needs of the community. The vision is to deliver sustainable programs and policies in response to the public health needs of the community. And this is guided by the core values that they've adopted, which is respect, integrity, professionalism, quality, and dedication. So as we move forward now, we'll be seeing a different document than we have in the past. So I encourage everyone to pick up this new document and see, because there's a lot of different information than it did in the past. I would like to make a motion to place this report on file.
Moved by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Benefield. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
And I also have an announcement to make. We are going to, on Thursday, August 2nd, from 2:30 to 3:30, there will be a roundtable discussion seeking solutions and strategies on the opioid epidemic. This is going to be hosted by Congressman Adam Kinzinger, as well as our Will County State's Attorney James Glasgow, Will County Board members Debbie Militello and Don Gould, and the Braidwood Police Chief Nick Ficarello. So there's information there that in case anyone has the opportunity to attend, it's good that everybody's looking at this crisis and trying to come up with some helpful strategies to find a solution. So that's the end of my report for today. And our next meeting will be held on Thursday, August 2nd at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Next up, Legislative and Policy Committee, Ms. Hart, Chairperson. Mr. Moran.
Suzanne asked me to report on the resolution we submitted at NACO. As Vice Chairman of Airports for the National Transportation Steering Committee of NACO, we reported out our resolution that we approved at last month's board meeting. There were no questions during the question and answer session, and it passed unanimously in the afternoon. Thank you.
Next Legislative and Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for August 14th. Thank you. Next up, Capital Improvements Committee, Mr. Tumanello, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Morning, Ray.
County Board. First thing on the agenda is an update on capital improvement projects. If you click on that summary, it'll show you where we're at with all of the projects, including some that are still on the horizon. Next thing I have is 18-202, approving a list of qualified firms for CM work up to $10 million, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Fritz. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Stollinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next on the agenda is 18-203, authorizing the Will County Executive to negotiate a contract for professional construction management services required for the new Will County Animal Control and the Emergency Management Agency buildings, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Summers and second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Our next Capital Improvements Committee meeting is scheduled for August 7th at 11 a.m., and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ray. Next up is Executive Committee, Mr. Mustis, Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
My first item today is 18204, authorizing contracts with designated carriers for renewal for our group benefit plan, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, I have 18205, approving premiums and equivalents to achieve employee rates for retiree rates and COBRA rates, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Trainier. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 18206, amending an ordinance establishing and designating an enterprise zone for a portion of the former Joliet Arsenal. I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Musa, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 18207, authorizing an IGA with the Village of Elwood for the Joliet Arsenal Enterprise Zone, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Musa, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Mellotello, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, I have 208, authorizing an IGA with the City of Joliet for the Joliet Arsenal Enterprise Zone, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions, John? Previous roll, and second by Mr. Markham. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, I have 18209, removal of election judge for failure to vote in accordance with the Illinois Election Code, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Mellotello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, I have 18210, designating election judges for the 2018-2020 period. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Dollinger. And any questions? Any questions? Move previous roll by Ms. Ogala, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18211, designating Capital Improvements Committee as owner's agent for the EMA facility. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18212, authorizing the county executive to convey permanent surface and subsurface easements on the county property located in Troy Township for access to establish mineral rights on adjacent parcel, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Mellotello, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18213, authorizing a lease amendment with the Vertical Bridge Holdings for the use of the radio communication towers, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Summers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18214, voiding bid for communication headsets for SWAT. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Parker. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ballard, second by Ms. Ogalla. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18215, authorizing amendment number 3 for the RTA technical service agreement. I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
18216, authorizing the county executive to establish the Fairmont House replacement pilot program and to execute agreements to purchase and sell properties under the CDBG home program, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfield. Mrs. Winfrey. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Dollinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
18217, adoption of the program year 2018 action plan, October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2019, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Markham. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, we have 18218, new hires for the LCC 911, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Tumanello, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
18219, authorizing the county state's attorneys to enter into a settlement agreement in 09L 960, and I will move for approval. Okay. So we'll come back to them. Well, okay, so 219 and 220 we will come back to. The next executive committee meeting will be August 2nd at 10 a.m. Next, I have the appointments of the county executive. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Staley Ferry, second by Ms. Summers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Mr. Executive, I see that the state's attorney has redistributed that resolution. You don't see the number on here. For 1883 for the land use. Will they go back to Mr. Weigel on this? Just, let me say this. I'll make a motion to remove it from the table.
Second.
I think it's in under the. Why don't you make? Okay.
Motion to remove.
We just want to remove it from the table. We can do it.
Yeah, Mr. Mustis makes a motion to remove it from the table, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried, so it's off the table.
It's off the table.
Mr. Weigel, you want to take another shot at explaining this?
We'll try. We have Resolution 18-83. It's been updated. And I'll make a motion to concur with the Planning and Zoning Commission's a denial for the Tyler Jabay, and I so moved for approval.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Parker. Any discussion? Any discussion? Everybody understand? Well, so to do this right, a vote of aye is what you're looking for, Mr. Weigel, right?
The previous roll call is fine.
Previous roll call by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you.
Next,
public comments.
Next up, public comment. And did anybody sign up for public? No comment. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come on. Yeah. Unless you got a big, loud voice. Tell us your name and.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Kmitch, and I am a New Lenox resident. I understand that there have been some board members that have been approached and that there's been public comments on the need for a resolution proposing that Will County become a gun sanctuary county. And I'm here to oppose any entertainment by the board of such resolution. Firstly, I am not anti-gun. I am not anti-Second Amendment. I do believe in responsible gun ownership. I don't believe that if you are a responsible and lawful gun owner that there should be any fear of sensible gun laws. There's been a grassroots effort by various gun groups to encourage counties to adopt such resolution. But what is different about Will County is that it has 20 times the greater population than any other county in Illinois where such resolution has been adopted. We are the backyard of Cook County and the greater Chicago metropolitan area in which a majority of gun violence in the state occurs. By mere approximation, residents of Will County are more at risk of becoming a victim of gun violence than those in the counties that have passed the resolution. Any resolution passed in this effort does not supersede any state law and has zero constitutional effect on the county, and you have, as board members, sworn to uphold the laws of the state. Additionally, such non-binding resolution creates confusion for the Sheriff's Department and other law enforcement agencies within the county and creates possible legal liability on behalf of the county. Such consideration of a resolution, besides being completely legally unnecessary and ceremonial in nature, is completely divisive during a period of time where additional conflict and controversy is not welcome. I don't believe this is a resolution that needs to be entertained in any county, and certainly not in Will. On a second matter, I would like to bring up the latest article by Mr. Balich that he posted it on the Will County news site. If you guys haven't read it, it slams an FBI agent's wife as being homely, that never a runway model will she be. It also states that lefties don't get many choices in women. Most are just men in training. The penis envy so thick, even Long John Silver would be jealous. This kind of writing is so chauvinistic, misogynistic, and absolutely disgusting. I think it proves that you are classless, and I believe that you should be ashamed of yourself. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
We don't need it. We don't need it. We could just go for a minute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to have the mic? Public comment? Anyone else? Moving on, comments by county board members. Mr. Trainier.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I just wanted to announce that there's going to be a really interesting program this Sunday in Bolingbrook on the 22nd of July. It'll be held at the Bolingbrook Community Center. It is going to be a safety fair for college-age students heading off to college this fall. Most people don't realize that 20% of college freshmen will be assaulted in the first 2 months of school, and 5% of males will face a similar fate. There is going to be an education program between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's at the Bolingbrook Community Center. Very low cost, $5 per person, and the costs will actually be rebated back to scholarship winners that will be chosen from those that attend the fair. We encourage everyone that is going to college to attend and to be a student and not a statistic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other county board member? Ms. Dollinger.
I just have a couple things. First of all, I'd like to thank those who are in the workforce services and what they're doing for the citizens of Will County. We've actually had multiple job fairs this month, and we actually had our first one out in Moni, which I thought was very successful, so we're going to continue to do more of those. And then also I'd like to thank the staff at Land Use and for all the work they do in preparation for the Planning and Zoning Committee meetings. I had an opportunity to go to that meeting this month. They're very professional. They do a great job. They're well prepared, so I want to thank them for all the work they do. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. Anybody else would like to speak this morning? Seeing none, moving on. Announcements by the majority leader, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. First off, I want to thank John Wegler and all the work that he did in order to be able to become an Eagle Scout. Research shows that previous experiences impact future results. And I think that our youth that are going through these kind of trainings and have that kind of stick-to-itness, they're going to be great assets to our community as going forward, as I know John and his family already are. I also want to take a minute and have a moment of silence for Herb Brooks and his family. Herb lost his mom, and I know that he's not with us today, getting prepared for them saying goodbye to Mom. So if we could just take a moment of silence. And the fact that it's 10:31 means that I want to thank all the people that did a lot of hard work here this month to get this organized, well done, and we're going to be getting out here a little bit earlier than normal. So I wish everybody a happy summer and safe travels as you finish off the month of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, Don, you want to speak on behalf of Pastor Brooks? Oh, is that Lauren? Oh, Lauren. Oh, God, excuse me.
I was wondering.
Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Good morning, everyone. I was going to ask that we all have a moment of silence for our friend Herb Brooks and his mother. So thank you for doing that, Chuck. And please just keep him and his family in your prayers. I don't have much else to say. I mean, we have a quick meeting today, so thank you, everyone, as always, for your hard work. There's a lot of great things going on in the county. The courthouse is in the sky. We had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony for the public safety complex this month. So it's just great to see everybody's cooperation and support on those. We've had some hot summer days. Kids are still out of school. So there are several back-to-school events taking place, so please keep on the lookout for those. There's one coming up on August 2nd for Catholic Charities from 8 to 2 at Joliet Catholic Academy. So just keep your eyes out for things like that that help all of our residents throughout the county. And we'll see everyone in August.
And the Cubs are in first place.
Oh,
yeah.
And go Cubs.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yes, thank you.
And next up, Speaker Mustis.
Good morning, Mr. Executive,
Good
County
morning.
Board. As usual, thanks everyone for all your hard work, the board, staff, executives, office. Thank you for all your hard work in the past month. I want to give my condolences to the Brad Veerman family. I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of that Brad Veerman, our executive director of the 911 Center, the Laraway Communication Center, passed at a pretty young age. I had the privilege of working with Brad for many years as their Lincoln Way Dispatch Center, which he was the executive director of, was in my township building, so I pretty much would see Brad on a daily basis. First, I want to say what a great person he was, and a person that was absolutely dedicated to public service and public safety. He had that unique ability to bring people together. When they were looking for more space for Lincoln Way Communication, and I talked with Brad and some others. I said, well, you have to bring the fire people in, too, Brad was able to do that. When we went through the trials of trying to consolidation and bringing people in the Lincoln Way Communication Center, there was one common theme. Maybe I don't know, there was 32 communities involved or agencies involved in that. The only thing I think they ever agreed on in the beginning was Brad would be a great executive director. And he was kind of the mortar that held them together. So I just want to say to the Brad Veerman family my condolences. And even though Brad's life may have been a little short, he made a great impact on his community. So everyone keep Brad's family in your prayers. I really don't have much else except to say that, enjoy the rest of your summer. I'll see you next month. We'll hit the ground running, and maybe next month we'll do some reports on our annual National Association of County Conference, and everyone have a great day. Thanks very much. And don't forget, we're going to go into executive session, so don't run away. We'll go into executive session, and then we'll have to come back in the regular session. So that concludes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So there will be an executive session necessary to discuss pending litigation. So
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that. Moved by Mr. Mooser, second by Mr. Mayor. Got to call roll, right?
Yep. Mayor?
Yes.
O'Gala? Summers? Moran? Harris? Trainier? Benefield? Fritz? Gould? Militello? Balich? Frizzalone? Winfrey? Parker? Staley Ferry? Dollinger? Markham? Tuminello? Weigel? Ferry? Colitis? And Mustis. Thank you.
22 affirmative. We'll take a 5-minute break to clear the room, and be back.
5 minutes.